morning, or good afternoon, Leather family. I'd like to thank Claw and the Leather Hall of Fame Board of Governors for giving me this honor and for honoring Peter. We've laughed a number of times about this and whether or not Peter would be inducted while he was on this side of the spirit world. And so I'm very happy to be here. So thank you. And if I start crying, be prepared for it. Activist, advocate, brother, daddy, educator, mentor, player, whipmaster, and troublemaker. All of these words have been used to describe Peter Fiske, but even together, they do not capture the essence of this leather man. Only in spending time in his presence can you begin to understand why he is a leather icon. Peter's love of whips and whipping men started when he was just a boy. Unfortunately, he and his playmate were caught and separated by their parents, but the fuse was lit. A pervert was born. Like many gay men who were coming out in the 60s, Peter was drawn to San Francisco and the new masculine gay images that were beginning to crop up in magazines and that were surrounded by beautiful images. And happily for Peter and for us, he found the promised leather life, leather bars, motorcycle clubs, and other leather men. And it was in these spaces he discovered fellow practitioners of BDSM and reveled in the brotherhood. This was 1966. While he was growing in his kink, importantly, Peter was also developing as a gay activist. Having been thrown out of the military for being gay, he had no reason, or desire for that matter, to hide who he was. He lent his voice and his youthful energy, which at 72, he still has, to the many marches in the early 70s, all through the 70s in fact, in San Francisco, and was an important part of the voices of the early fledgling gay rights movement in the United States. However, like many gay activists, Peter has not always been a welcome sight. From a very young age, his views and opinions flew in the face of conventional wisdom, both in the gay community and in the leather community. But he has always, always, always persevered. And this has been to all of our benefits. As a result, when the AIDS crisis began, Peter not only had passion, but the skills and abilities to help organize the AIDS Emergency Fund in San Francisco. They raised money and helped friends and other community members who were in desperate need. As a member of ACT UP San Francisco, he focused his activist rage on the government, demanding treatment for all. Meanwhile, leather life flourished in San Francisco during the 80s and 90s in spite of the AIDS epidemic. Peter met and fell in love with the love of his life, Coulter Thomas, IML 1983. Peter also helped found the 15 Association during this time, or earlier. 15's been around a long time. Eventually becoming chairman emeritus, still involved. He also attended numerous Chicago Hellfire Clubs and Caligula Award in '96. Yep. I myself met Peter during this magical time in San Francisco, having moved to San Francisco myself, having been thrown out of the military myself for being gay, and actually on St. Patrick's Day, 1988, 22 years after Peter moved to San Francisco. During the 2000s, and you guys can read all of the wonderful organizations he worked with. I mean, served on many community boards, taught numerous classes. I mean, how many people in here have been in a class that Peter has taught over the years? Yeah, I mean, most everybody. On a wide variety of BDSM topics. He co-founded the Breast Cancer Emergency Fund, served as San Francisco Leather Daddy, and is still very involved with the Leather Daddies in San Francisco. And for me, personally, and this is part of why our friendship and our brotherhood is so deep, he became the most vocal advocate for acceptance and inclusion of trans men and women in the letter BDSM community. The most important thing about this is he has done all of this with joy. Peter is a joyful person. He truly enjoys teaching and mentoring and leading. He is always seeking out newcomers and welcoming them to our diverse leather family. Watch them do it all weekend long here. His collaborative and collegial style of play is unique and engaging. For example, his whip practice class has led to numerous whip practice groups all over the country, led by a wide variety of people. But mostly, I'm proud to call him my brother. He was one of the best men at my wedding. I adore this man, and I aspire to be as selfless and as perverted as he is. Leather Hall of Fame inductee, Peter Fiske.
I'm doing a Guy Baldwin here, adjusting the microphone, getting out my glasses, and my remarks, which I won't read, but I can't see without my glasses. So please indulge me. 53 years ago, I came into a leather world that was young, so young it was cooling. And it was a scene. Today, 53 years later, I see a community, all grown up, big, strong, diverse, still new, and even still young. The values that existed then, that I saw, included trust, honor, and integrity. And we added safe, sane, and consensual. And I want to thank Guy and Race and all the others who had us removed, helped remove us from the DSM manual so that we are no longer considered mentally ill. 53 years ago and today, we always have a welcome for all, whatever your kink. Everyone is welcome and everyone is equal at our table. That is what we share. And here is my personal credo. I believe in playing hard. I believe in playing safe. And I believe in living large. And I urge all of you to live large. It's only one life, one go round. And if you want to get friends, you need to be a friend. And when I say play hard, live and play hard, also work hard. And I always say, try to say yes, whether it's a scene, a friend, whatever it is in life, new experiences, new people. And the welcoming part is very important. I don't care about your age, your income, your gender, your race, your religion, or lack of it. All I care about is you, all of you here. You haven't been a scene for me. You've been my friends and my loved ones and my life. And I wouldn't even be here without you because I wouldn't want to be here. And I would add, be kind. There is not enough kindness in our world, or any world. And be considerate. And now I'm going to say thank you to my brother Billy Lane. You've inspired me ever since I met you, from that day to this. And I want to thank my family in the 15 Association, who I've been with for 37 years, and that's the age of the club. And my Delta International family, which I've been with since the beginning of Delta in 1994. And my Chicago Hellfire family and brothers. I love you very much. I will see you soon in Chicago, and soon enough at Inferno. I have missed you all very much, and I've always loved you and always will, and I'm your brother and your family. And my heroes have been Felix Jones, who's an inductee 2 years ago, and I accepted on his behalf. Daddy Alan Selby, Cynthia Slater, Mr. Marcus, Bill Bliss, and Tony DeBlas. And Tony, I miss you terribly. And finally, Mama Sandy Reinhardt, who's always put everything out and on the table to help people. And finally, Coulter Thomas and Charlie Smith, who loved me, and they're here watching. I feel them. So thanks, Leather Hall of Fame, and thanks all of you, and I'll see you around the campus.